What's happening, guys? It's your boy TMD. I'm up here in the world headquarters right now. I'm going to be heading out to the woods. We're going to work on some maple tubing and the whole system going in that we're redoing for this year. Doing a maple video today. Don't do as many of them as I used to, but I hope you guys that watch it for all the content enjoy this. So stick around. Guys, before we head out the door, I did want to show you something, and I hope anybody watching this kind of will find this interesting. I made a purchase of a tool, actually two tools, to be able to use the one tool. And I just kind of wanted to show you them and talk about them. Now, let's take a look at these right here. What we have here is something called the Exact Tap, okay? Now, the Exact Tap, what that thing is an apparatus that you put on your drill. So it's kind of like a jig or something like that. So when you drill a hole in the tree for setting your taps, it's going to drill a consistent hole at a consistent depth and a straight hole, not into the tree, you know, at a different angle or something like this, which will create an oblong hole. And for those of you that are uninitiated with it, when you're running vacuum out in the woods, having a hole that's not completely just a circle because the drill went in there at an angle or whatever, that can cause a vacuum leak because all the tubing is under vacuum. I was never one that thought I needed something like this, and I actually still don't think I need something like this. But due to the fact that I really don't tap the trees anymore, I have help doing that. I have seen my vacuum level drop over the last few years, and it's been kind of frustrating because I couldn't figure it out. And I'm thinking that maybe it's the drilling of the hole in the tree. So that's why I got this. But kind of what I wanted to talk about here is take a look at this, because to me it's funny. I'm a person that can look at the maple industry honestly, and I'm not afraid to kind of point things out. But let's take a look at this Exact Tap thing. Now I'm doing this with one hand, and look at this. Okay, guys, this is the Exact Tap. You want to guess how much this thing cost? 3, 2, 1. 500 bucks. This thing, 500 bucks. Okay. See how that kind of goes. That's going to push against the tree, but I'm going to put it on the drill. Now for reference, kind of for a comparison's sake, I had to buy a new drill for that would work with that. I didn't have a drill that would work with that. So I had to buy a brand new DeWalt drill. I got a DeWalt drill, 1 battery, 2 battery, the handle, the charger, for about $230. Okay? $500, $230. Maple syrup people just pony up the money. No matter what these companies do, no matter what they put out. Okay, yep, we need that. Yum, yum, yum. Let me eat it. I think it's crazy how some of this stuff is priced. And I think that's due to the fact that it's basically priced like a hobby. So people are just going to shell out the money no matter what it costs because it's their hobby. Even on big level, most people are doing this as, I'm going to say, if you're not doing it full time, it's essentially kind of a hobby or a sideline business. And also, maple farmers are farmers, you know. They're used to paying retail for everything and selling stuff at wholesale. It just slides onto the drill where the handle would go. You have to tighten this down, and then it's on the drill. I mean, look at that drill. You can use that drill for many things. You can only use this for one thing. But essentially, this is what it'll do. It'll go like this. Okay? So yeah, guys, that's it. It's a pretty simple concept, but I'm hoping it improves the hole drilling in the trees. Just thought you might find that interesting. I'll let you guys know what I think of it. Hopefully, if the vacuum level goes up, it'll have done its job and I can say it's worth it. All right, guys, let's head out to the woods. All right, guys, what we're looking at here today is I'm down here in the woods where we took out all the old vacuum tubing. And for the uninitiated, for hopefully maybe the other people that have watched the channel for things other than maple, the vacuum tubing system is how we collect sap. It's kind of like a network of tubes, kind of like tributaries in a river leading to a bigger river, leading to the Mississippi, leading to the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America now, I guess. Kind of like the sound of that, as the collection tank. So what we have here, guys, is tubing that we've set up. We've got a bunch of the main lines up, and these main lines are 1 inch, and they kind of run gradually downhill to the south side of this woods, which is kind of longer and rectangular. You know, it's not by any means a big woods. It's around 10, 11 acres, I think. But it's my favorite woods. It's the woods that I grew up, you know, around with my dad and my grandpa. And it's honestly the most productive woods we had. But we took out the old system and now we're putting a new one in, and we had it logged after we took out all the old tubing. And I don't know, I wasn't like super impressed with the loggers myself. You know, I'm one, I mean, of course you're gonna have some damage. I just hate to see any of it. And you know, that we probably lost, I don't know, 1% of the taps in here because of the logging. You know, they were just cutting stuff down willy-nilly. It just seemed like, you know, if they could damage something, they did. But you know, like stuff like this here, you look at the roots on this hard sugar maple, and that's from dragging a log over it. Now, a big tree like that, this should recover easily from that. But as you can see, you know, you've got the tops of the trees, a lot of basswood and ash in here that were cut down, and that made a lot of extra work for us in putting up these main lines, because you had to kind of push them off to the side, cut them up, move them so you could get through. And I had, you know, there was neighbor guys from the area in here cutting a lot of that stuff up for firewood. I mean, what they could get to, and they still can because we're not done in here. That helps a bit, but you know, there's firewood in here for decades, but it's not all going to come out of here because we have to get this tubing up before season. And I'm filming this on January 22nd. You know, potentially, hopefully at least 6 weeks out yet before the season, but we have to get this all up. Right here, you know, you've got, these are called the lateral lines. So these are like the small creeks and streams that lead to the bigger river right here, as I was talking about earlier. And I've got some of that up already, and that's what I'm going to do today, is put a little bit more of that up, you know, for as long as I can. Much nicer day today than it was the last couple days. We actually came out of a stretch where we were below zero for, it was like 3.5 days below zero. And that was the first time that that's happened since 2007. It's actually before my son Jack was born, and he's a senior in high school this year, so that's pretty crazy. It was cold. I mean, we had 22 below here, and we're in central Wisconsin. Up in northern Wisconsin, I know I saw some places hit 30 below. So we've had, you know, colder temps than that, but still pretty darn cold. But the length of time was what was interesting about it. Guys, back in the truck to warm up a little bit. One thing I want to say is check out my link right here for maple equipment. This goes to my webpage and it takes you to the great manufacturer of hobbyist maple equipment here in Wisconsin, Smoky Lake Maple Products. You can go back a couple of years and I did a lot of videos about them and about their products. Well, I still endorse their products and recommend them very highly if you're a maple enthusiast or maple hobbyist. Check it out, guys, right here. It helps support the channel. I really appreciate it if you do that. All right, guys. Driving around the end of the woods now. One thing about this woods that's nice is it's very easy access for me and easy to get to, so it's not hard to work on. We can get to it quick. Now here, let's talk about this. I'll show you over here what we're dealing with. As I was talking about the river analogy, let's go over here. So these 1-inch lines I was showing you earlier, that's kind of like the Wisconsin River or the Ohio River or any, you know, something like that. Whereas over here, this is a 1 1/4 inch, bigger diameter, carries much more sap. That's like the Mississippi, okay? And then that's going to go downhill. And we'll walk along here. Right here, we still got logs that's got to get out of here. They got most of the logs out, but yet here there's some that remain. We're walking down here to where this ends. This is our old shack in here, you know. I've never claimed to be the fanciest operator out there. We're kind of backwoods-ish out here a bit because most of the woods, sugar bushes that I tap, there's no power. So we run stuff off the grid. This is a gas-powered vacuum pump. And we had our sap tank in here, but made a little upgrade. I think this is kind of nice. We brought in a little shed right here. And this is gonna be the sap tank shed. So that's pretty nice. Even insulated. We got a clear panel in the ceiling for light. And I already got the releaser down here because we were kind of trying to set things up and measure things out. But this is essentially the Gulf of America. Right there, the Gulf of America. And that is where the sap ultimately gets to. So yeah, that's a little bit of an overview of what we got going on down here. Down here on this end, where it's lower, I still have to put up the main lines out here. And it's a little trickier to put up because it's flatter down here. All right, guys, getting back out to the road. Here we got an Amish buggy in front of us. We pretty much have the old order Amish around here. Like if you watch a lot of these cable programs and shows like that, they have, you know, the Amish Gone Wild or the Amish Mafia or whatever, or just some of these shows that I've seen, and those Amish are much more modern than what we have around here. These are real Amish. I call these guys real Amish. They're old school. You might from time to time hear me mention Albert in some of these videos. Well, Albert is kind of like my right-hand man when it comes to the woods and the tubing projects and tapping trees and everything like that. And I tell you, if he would get on camera, this channel would be much bigger, because people seem to like Amish content and just seeing that different way of life, but you know, that's against their ways and against their religion. I wish I could. It'd be kind of cool if we could do something like that. But Albert's a really big help to me. He's close to or approaching 70 years old, which is kind of crazy. The guy just works like he works like 20 regular men, okay, at 70 years old. And the thing about Albert is he takes the project that we're doing or anything that we're doing as his own. It's as important to him as it is to me. You know, he owns it. He takes ownership in it. And to find that type of worker nowadays, you just aren't going to find it. You just aren't going to find it, especially for kind of like this type of work where it's somewhat seasonal. You know, I definitely use him much more in the fall and in the winter, and then definitely in spring up and through April about. But then May through, you know, September or whatever, don't really need him that much. And he kind of does his greenhouse and his gardening. But to be able to replace a guy like that it's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough when he, you know, kind of hangs it up or whatever. I don't really know what I'm going to do. But, you know, hats off. Tip my hat to Albert. All right, guys, for the rest of this video, we're going to go in here. We actually used to have an evaporator in here and boil our sap down in here. This was, you know, this is how we did it. It was in a small building like this. And then we moved up to the world headquarters, which is a nice building. Yeah. So this is my sled. And then what we're gonna do is just go out in the woods and put up some of these lines. Right here in front of me, you can see a bunch of nice classic examples of sugar maple. Guys, so what I do here is this is a tubing dereeler. And I kind of got to look back at the trees, kind of see what would make sense for putting tubing and running tubing to it. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to run the lines as straight as possible. But that's not always the case. Sometimes you have to deviate beyond that. But in this woods, I really kind of went all out, of course, to set this one up, trying to get maximum production. So we got a main line here, and then as you can kind of see, hopefully, main lines going to my right. They're pretty close together. They're really quite close together. I mean, we could have got away with going farther apart, but put them close together just for fun, kind of in this woods, because this is my favorite woods. And that means we're going to have short lateral lines, that tubing, And shorter meaning vacuum transfer is better back to the tree, to the tap hole. And then I'm going to try to get only probably 3 to 4 taps per lateral line as they run back to the tree, whereas, you know, I used to do, well, older back in the day, more than 5, but used to try to stick around 5, probably doing like 3 to 4 average. And you're going to use a lot more material that way, and it will be costlier to put this up, initial cost versus hopefully getting a bit more. I don't know, it's just because I decided to do in this one. So, all right, got a lot of trees right here. So what, this first one, what I'm gonna do, and I gotta grab my fittings. I'm not paying attention. I'm gonna have one of these, and I gotta have one of these. These are, again, if you've seen some old videos, these tools are crazy. There's a company called Pruno that makes these different types of tools for maple tubing, and I mean, essentially a lot of them are, they bought pliers and then welded vice grip and made these interesting tools, and these are also very expensive. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go like this, and on this one I'm actually just gonna run 2 taps, or yeah, probably 2 taps total. Then this will happen quite a bit, you drop things. But anyway, oh, gotta go like this. I get it started like that, and then you got to get your tool out, and we are gonna correct this, but all this stuff is just boom, press fit in there. It fits real tight, but you're gonna go around the other way because that's how this is supposed to work. And then this just snaps on there. Boom, see that? And then there will be a tube that goes from here up and into the tree with the spout on the end. So we're gonna go like this. So then when you get over to the pipe over here, you kind of eye it up, put some tension on it. You look where you need to be. Now with this next fitting, I cut it longer. So snap, boom. This one here, you don't have to cut to put into the to get it into the line. It just fits on there, and it's kind of a press fit tension grip type thing, and then it's got a hook on there, and you just hook that on to the line. And then we're going to come along later and put something called a manifold here, which will allow this to get the sap into the bigger pipe. So we run back to the tree, and you go from side to side, typically. Okay, so we're gonna go back to this tree. So guys, with that said, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, leave me some comments, share the video. That's kind of why we do this. You know, it's nice to see your work recognized. Guys, I'm gonna keep going on the rest of this for the rest of the afternoon here. Have a great week, have a great weekend, and remember, always keep it real.